Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and Wizards is still throwing out bans like candy at a parade, which was actually made illegal in my city for I think about a year, and then they brought it back because everybody was like, if I'm going to stand out in this 90-degree heat, the floats damn well better be throwing something of value at me. So I know this may shock some of you, but Brainstorm has been suspended, also known as banned, in Historic. Which, okay, actually, some of you might be surprised by the in Historic part. Historic is irreparable, so what they did is Historic was too close to Standard Construct because it only went back like a set or two or four or whatever after the last rotation. And so it really resembled Standard. And because they were ramping up the power level with every set, you really wouldn't play some of the older stuff necessarily. You would just take like the newer deck concepts and upgrade them with the oldest cards. So really you just had like Standard plus slightly more dickish edition, which nobody was into, nobody was touching it. And they're like, okay, well, people are mad about rotation, losing all their wild cards and losing all their money. We got to do something. I would have just made Brawl into like a new cutoff commander and just like non-eternal commander. But nobody's really playing Brawl either. Not enough legendaries to go around. I would have just straight up said it just has to be a rare mythic. There you go. Drop the legendary requirement. That actually should be the rule for Brawl. But so what they did is they had Historic Anthology where they took a whole bunch of hyper powerful modern staples and used them to upgrade existing stuff or to kind of start new decks. And now with 2 and 3, it's like you've got entire deck archetypes that were barely in the game in Standard, barely even supported, but like now they're here. So their theory was with less and less people playing MTGO and not a lot of people wanting to play MTGO and Arena, they just kind of moved Modern to Arena so that you could play your super high power level, win on turn 4, what I would call degenerate, not fun format, but some people are into it, so to each their own. Some people like what they themselves refer to as high-powered magic. I refer to it as high synergy magic because there's a big difference. I like high card power. I don't like high deck power. That's the best way I can put it. So now remember, they couldn't add cards quick enough because a lot of people moved on to Historic, and they're like, we gotta turn this into Modern as quickly as possible. How can we funnel the most cards into it? And they thought, okay, Jumpstart and the Mystic Archive, because that was like hundreds of cards at a time. So it's strangely difficult to find records of this, but I'm pretty sure Brainstorm came in from the Mystic Archive. I know what was in the Mystic Archive for Strixhaven. I just don't know if that special frame was added, but Brainstorm was added separately. I kind of doubt it, but they knew what they were doing. I mean, they included it probably for money reasons and because some people want Brainstorm, in the paper card game, and then was it inadvertently added to digital? I don't know, but that's why I set up all this, like how Historic came about and what they're doing to it, because you're probably thinking, how did Brainstorm become legal? What thought went into that? Well, the answer is none, because Brainstorm is, you can't really say banned in Modern, but it's restricted in Vintage. It never was printed in late enough of a set to be legal in Modern in the first place, but if it was, I guarantee you it would be banned, because we've got the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse in the Brainstorm family, if you will. And that, of course, is Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, and Mark Rosewater. I know some of you were wondering what the 4th one would be. They're all just deck shrinking, deck fixing, degenerate combo, control enabling garbage. I mean, that's... what else can I say about it? That's what it is. So, Ponder, very, very structurally similar card. They're all worded a little different. The math is a little different. The order is a little different, but they all basically do the same thing at the end of the day. So Ponder is really similar to Brainstorm, and it is banned in Modern, and it is restricted in Vintage. Preordain is banned in Modern, but still allowed in Vintage. Well, fully allowed in a play set of 4. Of course, when it says restricted, it means you can only run 1. So, clear as day, Brainstorm might as well have been banned in Modern, so why did they inject it into Historic? They knew what was going to happen. It's just another Ponder. It's just another Preordain. But, well, greed and carelessness. I mean, what else is there to say? So, let's read what they wrote. In the ban and restricted announcement for Historic in June, we mentioned that we were keeping an eye on the high play rate and perceived dominance of blue-red decks. Yeah, the Izzet Guild has been ruining Historic since that color rune Standard with War of the Spark. But in general, the blue and red decks in general, but Brainstorm in particular, because it's just spell spamming, time wasting, go get the next instant shit. I mean, it's just, you're never going to get anything good out of stuff like that. Unless people run like a sane and fair deck, but they never do. As we watched, we saw an interesting pattern emerge. Did you now? Though decks like Izzet Phoenix and Jeskai Control represented a metagame share that usually indicates a dominantly powerful deck, their win rates have generally been fair and healthy. So a lot of people are playing it, but that doesn't mean a lot of people were winning with it, which that's actually kind of interesting, because usually that works itself out. People will be like, I feel like there is something better. I feel like I'm not getting my 55-60% win rate, but it was 51.5. How are you going to, decide that between that and like 54, or like detect that, I should say? Because remember, by Wizards' own metric, if we were to pretend that Historic is modern, 55% or above a win rate against other, popular Tier 1 decks is unacceptable. That is anomalous and is too high. Well, how is a human being going to, see a 2.5 to 3 to like 3.5% difference? They're not. So I guess everybody just felt like they were good and didn't actually track their wins and losses. I guess that's, what it would be. But it's not like below 50%. Because usually that you'd notice because you will never, ever rank up. So they say, for example, Izzet Phoenix, my god do I hate that deck, was approximately 30% of the metagame. So 1 in 3 matches you'd probably be matched up against it. Wow. In the July Strixhaven League weekend, which is a very high percentage for one deck to claim, but its win rate there was only 51.5%, as I mentioned before. Far from dominating or threatening. I don't know. I mean, being 30% and anything above 50%, that's a mistake. But, would it be 30% if it was 49%? Probably not. So this matches our internal data, which consistently showed Izzet Phoenix with a win rate a bit above 52% and Jeskai Control a bit above 51% in high-level best-of-3 play. So basically like Mythic League. Given these low win rates for the Izzet Phoenix and Jeskai Control, and the presence of multiple other archetypes with strong records against both the decks and the rest of the field, we expected to see the metagame share of these decks decline over time. Though we saw some reduction, the combined metagame share among high-level players in best-of-3 ladder play declined steadily from 17% in mid-June to 14% more recently. These decks have remained the most played there, usually by a good margin. Wizards, you've once again underestimated net deckers. Never do that. They are this damn lazy, and honestly, there is zero creativity left in the deck building in Historic, which is a shame. You just kind of throw something together, you're going to get your ass kicked by the completely out of control Tier 1 decks. And that's what they wanted. That's modern. I mean, there you go. I won't play it. I won't tell people to play it. I'll tell people not to play it. But if you're into that, then you do you, whatever. So they say when evaluating a format, our goals are to generally create a balanced, fun, and diverse metagame. Well, then get rid of anything with the word control in the deck name. How about that for starters? While decks like Izzet, Phoenix, and Jeskai Control are not showing win rates that threaten balance, their steadily high metagame share is certainly harming deck diversity. No, net decking is harming it. Not the deck, not the card, but whatever. Which in turn reduces the fun of the format. You're never going to have a fun Historic. It's not possible. You've ruined it. You'd have to ban all of the anthologies and start over, and even then, it's based on standard constructed. That's not exactly coming from Funland. Anyway, while we are seeing some motion to correct this, the rate of change is too gradual to quickly address the format imbalance. So, not a problem and already going in the right direction, and they're still banning it. That is like the opposite of their parameters. I am shocked. Now, I'm not shocked that Brainstorm is banned because it's Brainstorm, but now that I know the whole story, wow, this is actually kind of surprising. So, Brainstorm is suspended in Historic. Now, let me just say, it is going to be unsuspended at the end of the evaluation period for this suspension, which I don't remember, 30, 60, 90 days, something like that. All they're doing is artificially lowering that dex percentage, and then they're going to unban it and then see if it climbs. If it doesn't climb, they'll be like, okay, fine, we'll just leave it at 5%. Then it fell from 14 to, 0, and then went back up to 5 because people were super done with it. So yeah, Brainstorm is 100% being unbanned, or unsuspended, whatever, I guarantee it. So finally they finish with, while our most recent actions in Historic have been bans, such as those for Time Warp and Thassa's Oracle, those were cases where we had clear and convincing data showing that the cards were problematic. That's right, they didn't suspend them, they went straight to the ban, which was hilarious, because they said they wouldn't do that. In this case, the data is less clear, and that is exactly where we prefer to utilize suspension. They might as well just be telling us that they're going to bring it back. I didn't actually read this, but I knew because I've followed Magic for 8 years. What more of a reason do you need? We will continue to monitor the Historic meta closely to see if it reaches a point where reintroducing Brainstorm seems safe, or if we should move to fully ban Brainstorm. Honestly, if they don't even see a couple percent drop in the number of people playing these two deck archetypes, they're probably not going to unban it. They'll just be like, okay, fine, we'll leave it. You know, we're not going to take out another chunk out of the decks, but new sets coming out, new anthologies, maybe they'll shrink over time. You know, maybe that's the route they'll go. But I don't know, it's very up in the air. But if you play either of those decks, you're an asshole, honestly. Constant reviving, spell spamming shit, and anything with the word control in it with 3 colors, you're an asshole. And if you're going to come back and tell me, but that's all I can win with an Historic because it's so competitive and I have to basically hyper-control it because the other decks are toxic cancer. Yes, but you're still an asshole. Don't participate in a format that toxic. It's pretty damn obvious. Go play something else. Play the funny, like, weekend weirdo things they keep rolling out, which it looks like they're not even going to do for, like, 2 months. There's, like, nothing but boring crap coming up. Unless we haven't seen the full schedule, but I read the last Arena update, and there's nothing in there. There's no Omniscience anything. There's no Momir, nothing. That's a shame. It's like they're trying to ban fun from Arena as well. Well, anyway, this is what it is. When I heard that there was, because this was leaked ahead of time by, once again, a bot script, which I really should make a video explaining how they did this because it's hilarious, but they didn't get access to the ban page, but they got access to the fact that the ban page existed. And so they were able to heads up everybody, and everybody was tossing around Brainstorm because they're like, well, this is awfully close to the other one. I was, not naively, but hopefully... Like, I wasn't expecting it to happen, but I hoped it to happen, that we'd see something banned from the 2022 format, but, well, one we just did. And, okay, Oracle update, whatever, it's the same shit. Standard would be nice if they'd try and fix that, but, what would you even ban? It's, like I said, it's either 30 cards or it's none. Because if you ban 5, you're just gonna lower diversity and leave more toxic shit. You either fix it fully or you don't even bother, and it looks like they're going with don't even bother. So I bet they can't wait for rotation. Oh, that's right. The last one wasn't an Oracle update. It was the Book of Exalted was just outright banned. But they also changed how something worked with an Oracle update too. But the card needs to be banned. I got confused there for a second. Well, here's open. I mean, I got my top 5 list of cards I want out of the new 2022 format for sure. I could care less about Standard at this point. But that's the one that they could fix, so I wanted to mention that at the end. They could clean up the 2022 format with just a couple bans. I haven't played it on Arena. It's a lot more fun than Standard, but it needs some help. I mean, there's a couple cards that are pretty standout that need to go, and one of them is, unfortunately, that new stupid skeleton generator. That card is insane to play against. I mean, it by itself is like, okay, it's a good card. It's like extremely good, but there's so many downsides. Okay, I get it. But in the deck that revolves around it, you're never going to beat it. They will just, like, immediately swing for over 20. As soon as it drops in, they're just like, hi, and then you're screwed. I mean, with haste and everything, it's truly ridiculous. Delina, that bitch gotta go. I forget what's even legal. I think Shark Tornado isn't legal, but I want to ban from existence. There's a couple carryovers. I think one of the mill cards is still legal. That's Cancer, obviously. But yeah, it's not as long of a list as Standard, so I want to see them trying to clean it up. I really do. But I think, the format's been out for, like, weeks. It's not too early to issue a ban, but it's too early for their slow glacial asses to make a determination, collect numbers, or any of that other geek stuff they do instead of just feeling it out and doing what's right. Like the community all does every time, where they're like, well, this is degenerate, this is ban-worthy. And the community's always been right, and they always will be right. They're always smarter than wizards. Kind of weird. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I can't wait for the next ban announcement. Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss it, and I'll see you guys next video.